Before Zeus raised his thunderbolt, before Odin ruled the icy halls of Asgard, there were gods who walked the golden sands of Africa. Beneath the burning sun of the desert, beside the eternal flow of the Nile, rose temples so vast they touched the skies. These were not built for men. They were monuments to gods, beings of fire, magic, and eternity. They were not whispers and forgotten scrolls. They were power itself, worshipped by pharaohs, feared by peasants, carved into the very stone of the pyramids, where their eyes still seem to watch us across thousands of years. These gods ruled over life and death. They judged kings and beggars alike. In the underworld, they weighed the hearts of mortals against a single feather, deciding whether a soul would live forever or be devoured in eternal darkness. But at the heart of their stories was something more human. Love, betrayal, jealousy, and vengeance so fierce, it reshaped the destiny of Egypt's empire. This is not Greece. This is not Rome. This is older, darker, and far more powerful. This is the untold story of Egypt's gods and goddesses, a tale as old as the Nile itself.
We are the watchers of time, the guardians of secrets.
In the beginning, there was only darkness, endless, infinite, and silent. A vast, formless sea stretched as far as the eye could imagine. The waters of Nun. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. There was only potential, waiting to awaken. Then, from the void, the first light pierced the darkness. Ra, the sun god, rose from the waters, his fiery gaze splitting night from day. With a single blink, order was born. The deserts, the Nile, the lush banks where life would flourish, all came into being under his watchful eye. From Ra flowed the divine family, gods who were not distant figures, but forces woven into the very fabric of nature. Shu, the god of air, held the sky above. Tefnut, goddess of moisture, breathed life into the earth. Geb, the earth god, nurtured the fertile soil. And Nut, the sky goddess, arched across the heavens, sheltering all creation beneath her starry cloak. These were not just deities. They were life itself. The winds that cooled the fields, the waters that nourished crops, the sun that warmed every living being, all touched by their divine presence. And yet, among such divine power, Ra gifted the greatest force of all, Maat, balance, truth, justice, the invisible thread that held the world together. Every pharaoh swore to uphold it. Every priest acted in its name. Every mortal's fate depended on it. Without Maat, even gods would fall, and chaos would reclaim the world. But even gods bound by Maat are not immune to desire, envy, and ambition. In the stillness of creation, the first whispers of rivalry began. Shadows stretching across the golden Nile, hinting at the drama to come. Among the gods walked Osiris, king of Egypt, wise and just. His reign brought life to the land. Crops thrived, the Nile flowed, and the people adored him. Every grain of wheat, every rising sun, every beating heart in Egypt was touched by his presence. By his side stood Isis, goddess of magic, devotion, and life itself. Her beauty was unmatched, but it was her wisdom and unwavering loyalty that made her feared and respected even among the gods. Together, they were the heart of Egypt, the perfect rulers, the living embodiment of Maat. Yet in the shadow of greatness, envy slithered like a viper. Set, Osiris's brother, god of chaos, storms, and violence, burned with a desire for power. Every day he watched his brother's glory. Every night he plotted. And in his heart, jealousy turned to a deadly resolve. One fateful night, Set crafted a coffin, hidden from the eyes of gods and men alike. He lured Osiris into the trap under the guise of a celebration, sealed it tight, and cast it into the Nile's depths. Egypt's beloved king was gone. The Nile darkened, crops withered, the heavens trembled. Chaos had claimed victory. But Isis, fierce and unyielding, would not let death have the final word. With eyes glowing with divine magic, she scoured the lands, piecing together her husband's broken body. She whispered spells that twisted the laws of nature itself. Life flowed back into Osiris, his body whole once more yet changed, immortal. He had tasted death, and the gods had witnessed the power of love and magic. From their union came Horus, not merely a child, but vengeance incarnate. The falcon-headed god, destined to challenge Set's chaos and restore order. From the moment he first spread his wings, the heavens themselves quaked in anticipation. Brother against brother, order against chaos, father against envious sibling. Battles that shook the very foundations of Egypt, echoing across deserts, temples, and the stars. The story of Osiris, Isis, Set, and Horus was more than myth. It was a saga of power, betrayal, magic, and revenge that defined the destiny of a civilization. And as the Nile flowed on, the war between order and chaos had only just begun. But the gods of Egypt were not only rulers of the living, they were guardians of the dead, arbiters of eternity, keepers of the balance between life and what lies beyond. When a mortal's final breath left their body, their soul began a journey into the Hall of Judgment, a place where lies could not hide, where no gold, no charm, no pleading could sway fate. Here, every action, every thought, every secret was laid bare. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, emerged from shadows to guide the departed. His eyes glowed like burning embers, scanning the soul for truth. With silent authority, he led each spirit to the sacred scales of Maat. On these scales, the heart of the deceased, their essence, their morality, their very soul, was weighed against a single feather, the feather of truth. It was a test that spared no one. Even kings trembled before it. If the heart was light, pure, free from deceit and cruelty, the soul was allowed to pass into eternal life, basking in the sunlit fields of the afterworld. Peace, joy, and the presence of the gods awaited them. But if the heart was heavy with sin, there was no mercy. From the shadows, Ammit, the devourer, part lion, part crocodile, part hippopotamus, emerged. Her gaping jaws would consume the heart, erasing the soul entirely. To die once was human. To die eternally was divine judgment. Beside the scales stood Thoth, the god of wisdom and writing. With quill in hand, he recorded every verdict, etching the judgment into the eternal scrolls of the afterlife. Nothing could escape his notice. No falsehood could hide in the light of Maat. In this divine court, the truth was absolute. Every soul, from humble farmer to mighty pharaoh, stood equal before the gods. Here, morality was not just a choice. It was the very measure of eternity. The afterlife was not a promise. It was a challenge, and every heartbeat of your life was a step toward this ultimate reckoning. Maat was not just a goddess. She was the heartbeat of the universe, the invisible force that held existence together. She was truth, justice, balance, the measure by which gods and mortals alike were judged. Pharaohs swore solemn oaths to uphold her in every decree. Priests rose before dawn to chant her name, performing sacred rituals that reminded the world of her authority. Farmers prayed that her order would guide the Nile, bringing life-giving floods and abundant harvests. Every moment, every choice, every breath was a dance in harmony with Maat. For without her, chaos waited in the shadows, patient, insidious, ready to sweep across the land. The desert wind could become a storm. Rivers could flood without mercy. Crops could fail. And even the gods themselves could falter when balance was broken. To defy Maat was to invite ruin. To honor her was to survive. She was both shield and sword, mercy and judgment. And yet even her order could be threatened by envy, ambition and pride, forces that lurked in the hearts of gods and men alike. In every whisper of the wind, every ripple of the Nile, every crack in the temple stone, Maat watched, reminding all that balance is fragile and chaos is never far behind. To the people of ancient Egypt, pharaohs were not merely rulers. They were Horus incarnate, living gods walking among mortals, the embodiment of divine power on earth. Their word was law, their gaze was judgment, and their very presence reminded the world that the heavens had chosen them. And yet, death did not diminish their divinity. When a pharaoh passed from this world, he became Osiris, lord of the afterlife, judge of the dead, eternal ruler in the unseen realm. Life and death intertwined, a cycle governed by the gods themselves, with pharaohs at its center. But it's important to understand, there was not just one pharaoh in Egypt. The title pharaoh was passed from one ruler to the next for over 3,000 years. Each pharaoh was believed to inherit the divine spirit of Horus, the falcon god, and upon death, join Osiris in the afterlife. From Narmer, who united Upper and Lower Egypt, to Hatshepsut, the powerful queen who ruled as king, and Ramses the Great, whose monuments still stand tall, every pharaoh was seen as a living link between gods and men. Every temple was more than stone and art. It was a bridge between the human and the divine. Every pyramid was not just a tomb, but a cosmic staircase, a vessel through which a pharaoh could ascend to immortality and commune with the gods. Through these monumental works, pharaohs and gods were inseparable in the eyes of the people. The people did not simply obey pharaohs, they worshipped them. They believed that the gods themselves had chosen their king to govern the Nile, to command the seasons, to uphold Maat, and to protect Egypt from chaos. Every festival, every ritual, every offering reinforced the sacred bond between mortal and divine, ensuring that the pharaoh's will reflected the will of the gods. In Egypt, power was more than politics. It was divine, it was eternal. And in every pharaoh's gaze, the eyes of Horus watched over the land, unseen but omnipresent. Though millennia have passed, the gods of Egypt never truly died. Their stories, their power, and their symbols endured, hidden in plain sight, whispering across time and civilizations. The Greeks, awed by the majesty of Egypt, borrowed their myths, reshaping them into their own gods, Zeus, Hermes, and Hades. The Romans carried these tales even further, spreading the echoes of Egyptian power across empires. But Egypt's pantheon was never gone. It simply transformed, leaving fingerprints in every culture that sought to understand the divine. Even today, their presence lingers. The Eye of Horus watches silently, a symbol of protection and omniscience. The Ankh, the key of life, appears in art and architecture, a reminder of eternal life. Scarabs crawl across jewelry, amulets, and films, carrying messages of rebirth and resilience. Their myths are retold, their lessons echoed, their power subtly shaping the modern world. The gods of Egypt may have been forgotten by many, but their shadows still walk among us. In every ritual, every symbol, every story of power, balance, and eternity, they live. And if you look closely, if you know where to see, you can feel them. The lingering presence of a civilization that dared to reach the heavens, and the gods who walked among men. So I ask you this, were these gods merely myths, carved in stone and whispered in scrolls? Or were they something more, something alive, echoing across the sands of time, shaping civilizations, guiding destinies, and waiting to be remembered? Their temples crumble, their names are forgotten by most, yet their power lingers, in symbols and stories, in the very fabric of the world around us. The Eye of Horus still watches. The Ankh still promises life. The scarab still carries the message of rebirth. And if you know where to look, you can feel it. The gods of Egypt are not gone. They are here, their shadows walking among us. But every light casts a shadow. And where there are gods of order, there are gods of chaos. The echoes of that divine rivalry still thunder beyond the Nile, a battle that would decide the fate of Egypt itself. Stay tuned for the next chapter, the War of the Gods, Horus vs. Set. If you crave more of the untold stories, the lost empires, the forgotten kings, and the ancient mysteries that shaped humanity, join us on History Echoes. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and step into a world where the past breathes again, and every legend has a secret waiting to be uncovered.